Before the show starts, drop a comment below with where you're watching from, then sit back, relax, and get ready for some chilling stories. I really thought it'd be the break I needed. Work had been hell. Our office was one of those fun startup types where you're expected to smile through 10-hour shifts and pretend team-building exercises actually fix anything. So when a few co-workers invited me to Clearwater Beach for spring break, all expenses split, house by the water, total freedom, I said yes without thinking twice. There were 6 of us in total. I wasn't close with any of them, not really. Just occasional chats in the kitchen or Slack messages during boring Zoom calls. But it felt like a chance to breathe, to party, to forget. The house was insane. Huge patio, palm trees swaying in the breeze, music bumping almost immediately after we dropped our bags. People brought drinks, Bluetooth speakers, even an inflatable pool for the backyard. I felt like I'd stepped into one of those spring break videos, the kind that always looks staged online, but suddenly I was in it. The first night I let go. I drank too much, danced barefoot on the beach, got pulled into a group hug by co-workers who barely knew my last name, and it felt good. For a moment, I wasn't the quiet girl from the office. I was just another 20-something with a plastic cup and no responsibilities. But even in that blur of noise and lights, I noticed something off. Travis, one of the guys from IT, kept hovering around me. Not in a flirty way, more like observing, quiet, calculating. I'd look over, and he'd be watching from across the patio. Once, I saw his phone pointed in my direction, but he moved it fast when I caught on. I laughed it off. Told myself I was being dramatic. Spring break paranoia, right? The second night, things started to shift. I woke up in the guest room I'd been sharing with Rachel, another co-worker. But Rachel wasn't there. The room smelled weird. Sweet, almost chemical. My head was pounding, way worse than any hangover I'd ever had. My phone was on the floor, face down. When I picked it up, there was a text from an unknown number. Nice pics last night. You really let loose. My heart dropped. I checked my gallery, nothing new. No photos of me, no videos. But when I opened my hidden album, one I used for private stuff, everything was gone. Deleted. That's when I noticed the tiny red light near the closet. Blinking. Faint. I got up slowly and walked toward it. Hidden behind a pile of towels was a tiny black device, a camera. A real, functioning camera, pointed directly at the bed. I backed away so fast I nearly tripped. What the hell was this? I ran to the living room, but the house was dead silent. No one was there. Music still played low from a speaker, but no one was partying. No one was even awake. The sun hadn't fully come up yet, and a thick fog rolled in from the beach outside. I checked the doors. Front and back were locked. From the outside, I was trapped. My hands were shaking. I grabbed my phone again. Tried to call Rachel. No answer. Tried Tyler, the guy who had driven us there, straight to voicemail. That same unknown number sent another message. Should have locked your phone better, sweetheart. That's when I knew. Someone had hacked me. Someone who had been close enough to touch my phone, to be in my room, to set up a hidden camera. And I had a very, very bad feeling I knew exactly who it was. Travis. He was always messing with people's laptops at work, pulling dumb pranks, showing off his tech skills. But this wasn't a prank. This was dark, dangerous, and I had no clue where he, or the others, were. I knew I couldn't just sit there. I grabbed my bag, or what was left of it. Someone had gone through it. My clothes were tossed around, and the zipper on my makeup pouch was half busted. My laptop was missing entirely. I felt a lump rise in my throat, but I swallowed it down. No time to panic. I needed to get out. The windows in the bedroom were sealed shut. The only one that opened was in the upstairs bathroom, and it had one of those old-school slide locks. I made my way up the stairs, trying not to make a sound. Every creak in the floor felt like a siren. I kept looking over my shoulder, expecting Travis, or whoever else was behind this, to jump out from one of the empty rooms. The bathroom window was small, but I thought I could squeeze through. Just as I was unlocking it, I heard a door downstairs slam shut. Voices. Laughter. The others were back. I stayed still, holding my breath. She was totally out of it last night, someone said, laughing. Travis went full creep mode. They didn't know I was awake. Or maybe they didn't care. I slid the window open as quietly as I could and started pulling myself through. My foot slipped on the sink and I crashed halfway out the window, landing hard on the gravel below. The pain was immediate. My ankle twisted in a way it definitely shouldn't have. I bit my lip to keep from screaming and started crawling toward the side gate. I could still hear them upstairs, completely unaware. The gate was locked, but the wood was rotting at the base. I jammed my shoulder against it, using every bit of strength I had. It cracked open just enough for me to slide through. I limped down the street, barefoot, shaking, blood on my knees. No one was outside. It was too early. I opened the Uber app on my phone, nothing. GPS was glitching, like it couldn't find my location. Of course it was. I was being watched. Controlled. I turned the corner, dragging my foot, and waved down the first car I saw. It was a delivery driver, some older guy with a beard and a sleepy face. I must have looked like hell, because he rolled down the window immediately. "You okay?" he asked. "No. Please. I need to get to a police station." He didn't ask questions, just unlocked the door. Inside the car, I finally broke down, told him everything in a blur of words and tears. He took me straight to the Clearwater Police Department. I handed them the hidden camera, showed them the texts, gave them the names of everyone in the house. The investigation revealed more than I was ready for. Travis had been spying on multiple co-workers. Not just on this trip, but for months. Using hidden apps, clone drives, and devices like the one in the room. The company laptop I brought had been compromised. They had copies of everything, messages, private photos, personal documents. And the worst part, some of the others knew. Maybe not everything, but they knew something. And no one said a word. Travis was arrested, charged with invasion of privacy, cybercrimes, attempted extortion. The others were questioned, and 2 ended up being fired for covering it up. As for me, I quit the job, moved to a new city, started over. But I've never looked at a party or a co-worker the same way again. That trip was supposed to be wild, unforgettable, and it was, just not for the reasons I expected. Spring break was supposed to be insane. And yeah, it was. Just not in the way I expected. Me and 3 of my closest friends had been planning the trip for months. Fort Lauderdale, cheap hotel by the beach, parties lined up every single night, the full college spring break experience. It was our last year before graduation, and we wanted to go all in. The first couple of nights were wild. Rooftop bars, foam parties, tequila shots that made me lose count by midnight. We met people from all over, Chicago, New York, even a group from the UK. I barely slept, barely ate, just drank, danced, and rode the high of not giving a damn. It all started to go sideways on night 4. We'd been at this beach club just off Las Olas. It was loud, packed, and everybody was already wasted by 10 p.m. I lost track of my friends somewhere near the bar. No big deal, it happened a lot. We always found each other later. But that night, I couldn't find anyone. Not even after texting the group chat a dozen times. So I gave up around 2:30 a.m. and called a ride back to the hotel. I remember seeing the app say Camry Gray Raymond, 4.9 stars. The guy pulled up a few minutes later. I barely glanced at his face before getting in. My phone was at 12%. I just wanted a shower, a bed, and silence. At first, everything seemed normal. He didn't talk much. Just drove with one hand, some low R&B playing on the radio. But after 10 minutes, I looked up from my phone and realized we weren't headed toward the hotel. I tapped on the screen. The app still showed the destination correctly, but the blue route line was way off now. We'd completely detoured from the main streets. "Hey man," I said, trying to sound casual. "I think you missed the turn." No answer. He just kept driving. The streets got darker. Fewer lights. Fewer buildings. I tried again, louder. "Yo, I think you're going the wrong way." Still nothing. That's when I noticed the sound. A mechanical click. The doors locking. I felt it immediately, the shift in my gut. That jolt of adrenaline when your brain realizes something isn't just off. It's wrong. I leaned forward and said, "Can you just pull over? I'll get out here." He finally spoke. "You sure you want to get out in this part of town?" The way he said it, like he enjoyed watching me squirm. I fumbled for the door handle. Pulled. Nothing. It didn't open. The child lock was on, or maybe something worse. I looked out the window. We weren't even on a real street anymore. Just some narrow side road with nothing but trees and fences on either side. Then I saw the phone mount on his dash. There was no phone in it. The guy wasn't following the GPS at all. I tried to stay calm. Look, man, if this is a joke or whatever, it's not funny. Just take me back, all right? I won't report it. Just turn around. He didn't say a word. Instead, he took a right onto a dirt path I hadn't even noticed. The trees closed in around us. No lights. No signs. No traffic. Just the sound of gravel crunching under the tires and my heartbeat thudding in my ears. I didn't know what to do. I reached into my pocket for my phone. 3% battery. No signal. That's when I saw it. The corner of a wallet sticking out of the glove compartment. It was worn out and half open. When he hit a bump, it fell open slightly more. Inside wasn't his driver's license. It was someone else's. A woman. College-aged. Her name was Emily. I saw the edge of a photo, her smiling with a group of friends. It didn't belong there. None of this did. My stomach flipped. I stared at that ID like it was glowing. Emily Carter, 21. Her eyes wide, smile frozen in the photo. I didn't know her, but I knew that ID wasn't in there by accident. The driver noticed me looking. He slammed the glove box shut without saying a word. I snapped back, heart pounding. I needed to get out. Now. I glanced at the window, maybe I could bust it. But we were still moving, and the trees outside were so dense, I couldn't even tell where we were anymore. Somewhere in the middle of goddamn nowhere. He slowed the car down, then turned off the headlights completely. Pitch black. I could barely see 2 feet ahead. Just vague shapes of trees and dirt. We came to a stop. I wouldn't run, he said. His voice was low. Calm. Way too calm. There's no one out here but us. My hand was on the door, even though I knew it wouldn't open. I could feel my pulse in my fingertips. Then he reached for something near the side of his seat, and that's when I acted. I kicked the door as hard as I could. Once. Twice. On the third time, something cracked. The window didn't shatter, but it gave. I threw my body into it and felt the glass give way just enough to squeeze my arm through. I reached around, grabbing the outside handle, and it popped open. I tumbled out, hit the ground hard, rolled, and sprinted. I didn't look back. I didn't scream. I just ran. Branches scratched my face, my arms, my legs. I couldn't see where I was going, but I kept moving. I could hear him behind me. Not running, walking. Slow. Like he had all the time in the world. Like he'd done this before. That thought kept me going. If I stopped, I was dead. Or worse. I ran until I couldn't breathe. Then I heard something in the distance. Tires crunching gravel. A car. I bolted toward the sound and stumbled right into the road. Headlights blinded me. A woman screamed from the driver's seat and slammed on the brakes. It was an older couple in an SUV, tourists probably, judging by all the bags piled in the back. I was bleeding, barefoot, covered in dirt, but I begged them not to leave me. They didn't. They let me in, locked the doors, and called 911. The cops searched for hours but found nothing. No gray Camry. No driver. No trace of a car ever being in that area. Like he vanished into the trees. Like the road itself swallowed him. I gave them Emily's name from the license. Turns out, there was an open missing person report for an Emily Carter from last spring. Same age. Same area. I still think about her sometimes. I still think about him. And I haven't used a rideshare app since. I was just scrolling through my boyfriend's phone, looking at our spring break pictures, laughing, remembering the beach, the pool parties, when I found a photo I didn't take. A photo I don't even remember being taken at all. It was me, sleeping, in our hotel bed, and standing in the background, just barely visible near the curtains, was a man. Not Luke. Not anyone I recognized. The room was dark except for the soft glow from the TV. My body was curled up under the white sheets. And that man, he was just there, standing behind me, staring. I froze. I scrolled back and forth, trying to figure out how the hell that picture ended up on Luke's phone. It was time-stamped for 2 nights ago, the night Luke said he was out with the guys, and I went to bed early. I remember feeling dizzy that night, like something was off, even though I only had 2 drinks. My hands were shaking. I put the phone down slowly. The shower was running. Luke was still in there. I had maybe a minute. I opened his photo albums. Nothing weird in the main folders. But he had a locked album called TRVL. I knew his passcode. He thought it was funny to use 420069, like a middle schooler. Inside were screenshots, maps of the hotel, photos of doors, a reservation email under my name, booked for a different room on a different floor. That's when I stopped breathing for a second. Why would he reserve another room in my name? I heard the water shut off. I shoved the phone under the pillow, grabbed my hoodie from the chair, and told him I was going to grab a drink. I didn't even wait for his response. I walked fast through the hallway, heart beating like crazy, trying not to look like I was running. I took the elevator down, stepped outside into the humid Cancun night, and finally let myself panic. What the hell was happening? We'd been together for almost 6 months. Luke was charming, always sweet, super into fitness, had that fake deep sensitive guy energy. My friends joked he was a little too perfect. I brushed it off. Spring break was supposed to be our big trip, something fun before finals. Beaches, mojitos, matching swimsuits, the usual. We even posted that stupid his and hers towel photo by the pool. But now I couldn't stop thinking about that man in the picture, the one standing behind me. The fact that I had no idea someone was even in the room. And the fact that Luke had the picture. I went to the front desk. The girl there, probably around my age, gave me a smile and switched to English when I asked for help. I told her I needed to see my reservation. She pulled it up, asked for my ID. I showed her. Then I asked if there were any other rooms under my name. She looked confused, then typed, clicked, froze. "There's another booking," she said slowly. "Same name, same passport number, different room." I asked her what time it had been checked in. She said it hadn't, but it was still active. I stood there, staring at the receptionist like I hadn't heard her right. "What do you mean it's still active?" She turned the screen toward me. "Room 417. Booked under my name. Checked in 2 nights ago. The same night that creepy photo was taken, but no one had officially used the key card. Yet the room hadn't been canceled either. It was just there." I asked if she could give me access to it. She hesitated. "Do you have someone from security with you?" I said no. She said, "Wait here." I was shaking. I texted my friend Lauren, one of the girls from our group, and told her to meet me in the lobby, ASAP. Said it was serious. While I waited, I pulled out my phone and went back to Luke's album. I took screenshots of everything, the maps, the photos, the weird second reservation email. My battery was at 15%, and I felt like I was in some countdown I didn't understand. Lauren showed up 5 minutes later, still in her bikini top and shorts, confused and annoyed. But as soon as I told her about the photo, her expression dropped. "Wait, someone was in your room while you slept." I nodded. "And Luke has the picture?" I nodded again. Security came over a moment later, and we all went up to room 417 together. The hallway was cold. Quiet. The kind of quiet that doesn't feel natural in a hotel during spring break. Like this one hallway was frozen in time. The guard used his key and opened the door slowly. I stepped in first. The room looked untouched. Bed made. Curtains drawn. AC humming. But there was this smell like bleach and old cigarettes. And then I saw the camera. Tiny. Mounted under the TV stand. Facing the bed. Lauren gasped behind me. The guard went pale. He pulled gloves from his belt, took the camera down carefully, and called someone on his radio. I wasn't even listening anymore. My eyes were fixed on the closet, slightly open. Something inside caught the light. I walked over slowly. Inside, on the shelf, was a small black backpack. And in that backpack, a burner phone, duct tape, zip ties, a knife, and a flash drive. I couldn't breathe. The guard told us to leave the room immediately. Back downstairs, the hotel manager and local police were already waiting. I told them everything. About Luke, the photo, the second reservation. They took my phone to extract the screenshots. I handed it over without hesitation. They said they'd go up to my actual room to speak to Luke. But when they got there, he was gone. Left everything behind, his bag, his charger, his wallet. Just vanished. I gave them a photo of him. I told them his name. They ran it through the system. Nothing came up. And that's when they told me, there's no official record of any Luke Patterson flying into Mexico that week. No matching ID. No visa. No check-in record under his name. Whoever he was, he'd used mine. He had studied me, cloned my info, booked rooms in my name, slept beside me every night while planning something else entirely. I was a target the whole time. Not a girlfriend, not a partner, just another name on a list. The next day, I was escorted to the U.S. consulate and put on the earliest flight home. I haven't been back to Mexico. I haven't heard from Luke again. But sometimes I still check group photos from that trip. And I swear, in some of them, when we're walking down the beach or eating at the outdoor food court, I can see a man in the background, just far enough away to not be noticed. And I don't think it was Luke. I think he was watching us long before we ever met.